J.C. Mateo, a.k.a. Jeff Cobb, and Tagaloa, a.k.a. the Botch Machine, have also been released, even though Solo seems to be a little bit more focused the last few weeks he's been in a while. What are your thoughts? There's too many of them, and here it is 30 years later. The amount of Samoa on your roster. And the last thing, and I don't wish the guy ill, but the last thing that we're going to see of Tagaloa was falling off the fucking announce desk. Tagaloa, I hate to say I understand it, but it's a law of diminishing returns, and you see what the returns are so far. Jeff Cobb was there less than a year. They saddled him with an awful name and just made him one of the guys there. Never did anything with him, really. Yeah, well, that's, again, he was in a group where he might have been the best in-ring worker if you focused on each one of them individually. You say, oh, that guy's the best, but in the group, he was the best. And who gives a shit? And the name didn't help. It sounds like a fucking off-ramp on the Ventura Freeway. So he just had... But the thing is, we're talking about the same, but if you look at hey, see you later, go for the fucking, the big money over there, he was actively capably important when they signed him, right? The big racket, not all they got for reasons on that, so I'm still getting it. And then he was a regular champion. Nevertheless, I don't think he gets paid any more or less. I'm talking about the financial impact of these guys. The point is, if it's Tagaloa falls off the desk and other things a lot, okay, these things happen. This guy at least had a pretty good fucking job previously, and he left. Did he burn a bridge, or did he just leave a spot and take Phil? For various reasons, this is all bullshit. I know some of the fans are saying, well, but I think that, he didn't give him a chance, and blah, blah, blah. What did they tell him versus what they actually do, I wonder? Or did they tell him anything, or did he just blindly say, oh, this is going to be great? A lot of things go into this. The ones that the people are the most upset about are the New Day. And they were making a ridiculous amount of money. I'm not saying more than I'm saying a ridiculous amount of money. I'm not saying it's more or less than they deserve, but they're making lots of money. But they'd also been there 20 and 15 years with it. At some point, when is this a goddamn picture plan? You go in that direction. But the point is, these guys are going to start figuring out that they're signing these contracts to weave whatever it is that they're doing, if it's stable, to sign a 3-month contract. Because that's great, they've got 3-month clauses where they can decide, well, no, we're either going to change the deal or cut you. Put him right. It's like going to Nick Douglas, but me. It's not what you think, it's what we think. So how can anybody trust that they're signing anything more than a 2-month deal? The WWE in their new heartless corporate environment. I mean, Santos Escobar's a guy they bent over backwards, even the most noble trying to find a way to keep him from AEW. And took up his sword. And then they just, like you said, what was it, 3 months later? When did he sign the contract? Was it 3 months? No, I think we got close to a year out of it. They just didn't do anything with it. And then now that he's pissed the other guys off, they bought him, stuck him on the shelf so that they wouldn't have him across the street, and then he got hurt, and then bled. Yeah, by the way, I haven't listened to the Hollywood Reporter. I don't know why it doesn't get time to bring this up. He's now CEO of Hollywood. David Zaslav's the winner, $165 million. Last year he made 51.9. Number 2, Michael Cavanaugh of Comcast, $71.8 million. Last year, 28.3. Number 3 on the list, Ari Emanuel, TKO, $67.3 million. Plus 272% over his salary last year from 18.1.
I think it was really ridiculous he'd returned, but we had to try. There were a couple of points that we had that I was slightly crossing my fingers and toes. Everyone's waiting for her. We need her to succeed.
Say ciao to our spring segment. Out with the old ciao. And the Italian touch of Poltrone so far. The Fossili. Now just $6.99. Up to 4 years interest-free credit.
Oh, those are fun.
Well, so much.
I got that. 1. Lots of other executives on the list. Mark Shapiro, also $42.6 million, 34% increase on
And it's Hollywood that have taken over now.
These are people who looked at WWE the way investors or venture capitalists look at a lot of different businesses you may like that have gone away. They say, we'll saddle it with debt. We're going to pay ourselves a ton of money. We're going to try to cut expenses. We're going to try to have some synergy between this and other operations so that we can cut back staff. They're making more money than they've ever made before. These big Hollywood players, Ari Emanuel, Mark Shapiro. And then they're cutting wrestlers left and right. Again, not everyone can have a job, but the image it presents. At a time where you're pricing out fans, at times where there's commercials in the middle of the commercials, and everyone notices it. This story is going to get bigger and bigger. The next round of release, they're going to keep releasing people. Not to say they're not going to keep bringing people into developmental or whatever, but they're going to keep releasing people. This story's only going to grow.
You know what? I think I figured out the way to say what I was trying to say the other day. That Vince at least... Well, I was groping for it. I said Vince at least had some respect for the concept of the business. I think a better way to say it is Vince at least had some respect for the ability it took to be a main event wrestler at his company, and that's why that he liked to keep them and liked to fucking keep them over whenever he could. And the TKO group, or whatever, Brain Trust, may just think, you know, we've heard they say, oh, we need a younger roster. These guys are 40 now. Well, no shit, because they're over and they have been stars for years. But they may just think, okay, we could bring the younger kids up from NXT and start putting them on TV, like they're replacing characters in anything from Cirque du Soleil to one of the Vegas productions that requires athletic gymnasticry. They just revolve the cast. It's the show is the thing. And in wrestling, as we know, it's not the thing. The stars are the thing, but do they have a respect for how hard it is to make those and keep them?
No. They're using AI to write their show. I don't think they have any respect for what it takes to really do anything in the wrestling business.
Oh, come on. I don't think they're using AI to... They may be playing with it, but I don't think they're using it because it would be probably more exciting and chaotic than this pattern formula dribble they're giving us.
Yes.
That's
really
right.
weird matches. They are the records need to go
Campbell
those stars.
can't call themselves Bigger Woods. I think Kofi may be his name, so he can't call himself Kofi Kingston.
The Archon's
He can't be
that
Kofi.
way, horseman.
Perhaps
You
I
think
have
they're
other
going to
business.
AEW?
If that
I think he'll
business
call
takes him to the
himself-
kingdom of the
He'll
dead,
call himself
he would
Kofi's the
serve
king,
the
son.
light to deliver this scroll.
You know, this is
More
the problem
business of you
again.
and that
And
man
besides,
with
I
corpses.
never got
I
the
seek
gimmick
an
with
old
the
friend,
trumpets and the pancakes
a
and the
lost
fucking
soul.
flying.
Never got-
Talked about
Where
it. Never
better
didn't have it.
Just straight ahead of it. I'm still Simon Bob listening to Jim Cornette.
I've decided
Kofi's been there 20 years. I think Xavier had been there for 15. And they're making what was alleged to be 7 figures in the story because they said, hey, but, you know, that's the deal, right? The story going around is they said, well, we'll give you half of what you're making now, and we'll keep you, and they said, well, fuck you. But they're making 7 figures, and when these guys are just looking at the roster like they are, even if you were an old-time promoter, you would have had to do something with these guys, unless they bought into the office by then. 20 fucking years, just give it a rest. Now, can't afford to just keep them and pay them to stay on like Tony does, but it's obvious they're not going to. But really, you know what else is there to fucking do?
Just not free, man.
You know that Tony
Both Pardue comes in. You're a Pardue, my man.
Would you like to partake?
So I think he's a...
You know, 7 figures, and...
Let's say... Because the way he treats his dog and all the rest of it. He's definitely an indoor doggy guy, isn't he? And that's not my thing. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So I'm saying Pardue is like oh, just westernised, they're just normal. Just a normal dude. Like, you know what I mean? Like there's I don't think it's too hyper.
We've said before they could sign the reanimated corpse of Lou Bez in AEW and it wouldn't impactfully move the numbers. And I think past the first week or two on TV, depending on what rating method they might be using that week, they might build some of the better numbers they've had in a while. And I don't know that, again, these guys can make a difference in the business, in the vacuum that is AEW, but they'll probably go there. Don't you think?
Yes, and yes, I don't think they'll make any difference to the business. I think they'll go there, but I think Tony needs people who are actual stars on his roster. So in that way, it's better them than a Daniel Garcia or Yuta, whoever it may be. But that's why WWE was okay with this. WWE had to know if you offer to cut their contract, they're going to want to go.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a couple of nice wave releases. And WWE had to know that they would probably want to wrestle the Young Bucks. The Dream match, they never got that.
It was not Dream match.
WWE,
I really hate that.
they made the decision that
The Young
they'll
Bucks
get
are not a
AEW
good
on
tag
that.
team. They're just not.
And that's why
All because they've been
leaving.
elsewhere for a while. And they're
that's the
their
only
champion.
factor,
It
obviously.
doesn't make it good. Especially
They need
when
to
they're
save the extent they can.
They'll be prospects of champions on that's every night. Yeah. That's how you say
But
it.
WWE was afraid that
Just
these guys
just
were
like
difference
today,
makers.
just
They
play
didn't want
that.
to release them.
The big people like Josh Cena, Gunther, just being creative control in it.
They pretty much understand in the WWE or the TKO hierarchy that very few people, if anybody in the world, is a quote-unquote difference maker for AEW. So, there would be some guys that there might be some level of embarrassment if they somehow found themselves signed by Tony for billions and billions of dollars. But for the most part, they know that nobody that they want to release anytime in the near future would be able to make any difference because they figured out Tony's level and Tony's structure. And having nobody else has made a difference when they should have. And then also they may know something inside because they're Tony's like the billionaire kid that none of the regular real billionaires wants to play with.
We've seen
Apparently, because the fucking big time multi-billionaires in TKO and Hollywood and the criminal United States administration and Paramount,
really like those
they all
communities
talk to
every
each
Monday
other
morning.
and they
Yeah,
know
we
what's
can't
going on.
guarantee you'll get those kind of communities.
So do you think the WWE office knows something about why they don't need to sweat Tony Khan? Otherwise, in the obvious, it's on the face of everything.
I think WWE knows they don't have to worry about AEW right now.
And he comes over on
Yeah, I
Friday
think
and he has to
wrestling has to worry about
do
AEW.
physio over the road. And
Getting a
first
good
thing,
media rights deal.
physio with that kind of stuff.
I was going to
His
say,
son, I'm sure he said it's his
if all of
son
a sudden
using
AEW
it.
can't pay wrestlers what they're paying them, then WWE gets what they really want, which is they cut salaries and not pay people as much. But
Well, one of them said it was a son, and said, oh, do it,
No matter what, we had no TV.
because he goes to one of the colleges where he used to
Nothing.
we have a few of those, you know, the parents come in of the kids who go to the college.
It would be embarrassing if he stopped, so
Yeah,
therefore
that's
he won't
stopped.
stop.
That's soon given another 3
But
years.
anyway, it's just,
Well, that keeps
again,
coming, isn't it?
another one of those examples
Yeah,
of
actually, it's about 4
it's a
times.
new day in the WWE, and they don't give a shit. They want goddamn results.
It just proved the
If
concept
you
of
want
it's
to
street.
goddamn walk on the sidewalk in front of the new Titan Tower, you better be ready to hand over your pocket change, motherfucker.
And especially starting COVID.
Every new
And
day
proving
is a
that
new
even if
chance.
there's zero
New
pandemic,
chance
it's
to eat
still
well,
thriving.
and eat healthy.
We're on the end
Have
of
meals
a
crafted
deep
by
impact
chefs.
And then
Have
to get that
great,
first night,
delicious,
just
fresh
just
foods
make
to
the
eat.
first. Remember, we just turned up with
I
like,
have a big
Yeah,
fan
that's
of
sensible,
Factor.
right?
The
it
new
went
day,
to that. I just
plenty of
remember
time
having a
to
conversation
eat
with
right,
Arnold
get off.
2 days before it happened.
Let's tell some listeners about how friends and
Poems
Factor
and
lend
everything.
themselves
That
to
was it.
Well, that's what I'm wondering. Is that what the new day needs to be done? Because they're noted for pancakes and things like that. Are new day going to become the celebrity deliverers of the Factor meals? Now, this would fit. Because so many of our fans are fans of Factor. Because they have factored in all the time that it takes to shop and prep and cook and clean up afterwards, and they have come up with the conclusion mathematically
And the reason
that
I would say
Factor
wasn't
has meals
COVID
not only
is
built
because
around your
postal
goals, whether
service
it's
was
weight
still
loss, nutrition,
so food delivery
protein,
services.
or more, but
It infects
it's easier.
passive thinking.
Because every meal is crafted with functional ingredients. Those proteins, well, they do a variety of things. Chemically in your body, they enhance your physiognomy and the colorful vegetables and whole foods and even healthy fats. Those are fats that have been sent to a fat
Well, I
farm.
said not hopefully that we know since X, Y, Z, but we're going to let the postmaster concept. But you look, the council are more than some of the foods forever. If the post don't see this, that food is already, they're not in quantity, so it's not needed. It won't help. Well, you've got full quantity, that's what the quantity is straight away. And it's should take over this way, you're actually stuck in our sugar directive. Because they don't need to drive to shopping, it should be great. You get to compensate with the food, you just get a set food, make sure the juice and value and all the rest of it.
So it could have been, I don't know how you find out, I guess. It's a normal.
What if
It must be, but there must be something that only affects certain people, not others. Or the government's those countries knew the same threat, but just
No, I mean, I don't think that the COVID was ever a threat.
whatever the threat was.
Yeah, it could be terroristic, it could be financial, it could be economic.
I don't know what countries they were, but I never read about them. Well, they said they just didn't bother. They just.
And have been made to exercise. So when you eat them, it's like eating muesli, and it's fat. It's been exciting fat.
Listen, everyone knows that's not what that means.
Then I think think about it, yeah, but then if they had received a terroristic threat, then what would they first tonight involved, isn't it? Before receiving the threat. Oh no, I'm not charged with it.
Fresh, never frozen meals. There's over 100 rotating weekly meals, and they show up like that on this giant lazy Susan. And as it's spinning around, you just snatch one off, and every time you snatch one, you get a point.
It's mentally smart. So you do loads of stuff with it.
Every
Look,
day.
she uses insurance now.
And chat all the time. Globally inspired flavors, Mediterranean and Asian. And there's things from the Belgian Congo as well as the Antarctic Circle. So there's always something new to look forward to.
Yeah.
Those things that aren't there, Jim. Well, I think they get the swordfish from the tundra.
So what, half the size?
See? So there you go. I see nothing you said you think. I don't think that's true. I think the swordfish from the tundra. I don't think the swordfish come from the tundra. I don't know what's the newly launched, ready-to-eat salads. They've launched these things. They're flying through the air. They've got vibrant ingredients.
Go back there, we used to have
And then regular old lettuce. And if my role is to eat a salad and a rabbit, plus 70 plus add-ons to round out your nutrition. Green juices to peanut butter energy bites. They just give you a boost of energy with every bite of those peanut butter things. And And all these dinners that I'm talking about, these meals, these complete gourmet meals that come in a container, ready for you to just heat up, and they're ready in 2 minutes. Because they shop, they prep, they cook, they deliver to your door. They'll come and pick up the garbage also. If you just send a bag of garbage out with factor on it, it'll be picked up in the 2 to 6 weeks.
You'll be picked up not by factor. And why would it even take 2 to 6 weeks? Why wouldn't you put it up in your trash?
No, you put it out and it'll sit there 2 to 6 weeks. Because factor's busy. You're sending all these meals to people. They don't have time to pick up garbage.
My point is, why would you, even if they offer this ridiculous feature that they don't offer that you just promised, even if they did, why would you wait for them? You just put it in your trash for the trash bin.
Well, it seems awful rude to the trash man. He didn't have any responsibility for this. This is something you did on your own. You should give it back to Factor. They provide the service, but you gotta have to wait for it because they're busy.
I don't know about this, but
Right now, you can go to factormeals.com/JCE50 off and use that code JCE50 off. And you're going to get 50% off. And freely issued greens. Free daily greens per box. The food that you get with new subscriptions only while supplies last. I mean, they're yanking shit out of the yard to meet the demands right now, so the whole lawn's going to be bare pretty soon of all kinds of greenery. So hurry now. Factormeals.com/JCE50 off and use that code to get 50% off and free daily greens per box with new subscription agreement. Of course, when you go to factormeals.com, the website's going to give you many more details than I can right here, because I'm just hitting the high points of the map. Factormeals.com/JCE50 off.
it's delicious. That's right. Factor, we love them. You will too. Factormeals.com/JCE.
This month's this month, right?
Fades out while spring sang out of the old. And the Italian touch of ultra now just $3.99. Up to 4 years interest-free credit. Or if someone's Italian touch.
Yes, I understand that thing. Actually, in the 70s, you'd speak.
I told you I thought it was
We don't want to wear them.
I told it to you.
There you go, first fashion.
Because I'm old and you'll say, oh, that old chestnut. But a couple days ago, I went to the dentist.
By the fact
And, I've got the two front teeth with the big posts in them. Boy, you ought to see what those things look like on a goddamn x-ray.
Yeah.
Looks like somebody shoved a stick up in the middle of one of them. They're not in danger of falling out in the next week or two, but they probably won't last as long as I will. And then we can hopefully vibration that way. I got that news, we're in an ongoing situation there. But don't reveal that, Brian. It can cause all kinds of controversy. Do not reveal what I just said to you about the death visit. I don't want anybody to know.
Especially
Have I told you, or how long has it been since I have told the first time
all that stuff with Asperger's, all that public stuff, they just want to come in, you know,
the
it's not
dentist.
drying on you.
Remember
It's
the
not one of
dentist
those
appointment?
people
Have
where
you
it says,
ever
I
heard
need
this
certain
story?
things. I said, I've had 2 nerves, or we fly to the
You better hopefully you don't remember all the details, or else why you'll sit there bored.
It's been a while. I just remember the idea that
So
you
I
had
have
with
one
that.
of the Christmas service, and that's why I see it.
It's
So,
been a while.
it's still
The
like
only reason
that.
I thought of this because there I was sitting in the dentist's office, and it came to my mind, and I wondered whether I told you. But for the benefit of the younger people, do you mind if I revisit it? I was in there, we talked about where I was in the office there at Stanford doing the third-party bookings, where not only would the guys that maybe were lower on the cards weren't getting booked that often, because you know, the Billy's at the time, fellas, to get them booked on independent shows when they would still allow that, but the bigger stars got the autograph signings at the malls, right? Remember, Steve Austin could get $20,000 for a signing at one of those big
As
ball
I was
sitting
forced here,
at for
like,
3 hours,
like,
25 years ago. And thousands of people would come. Well, I had China booked for one of them. She was part of the whatever time period this was. It was obviously that time period, but she was somewhat of an established part of the deal at that point. And
I think you really
I
forget to take it nowadays.
remember who called me. It may have been Bruce. Called me one day and said, China can't make it. She's got a booking for the signing at Sabotage, can't make it. She's got a dental surgery.
I did use like
Okay, I'll offer the guy a replacement,
basically,
we'll take her off the deal, whatever, so all the promote.
Oh, stuff like that. They're really nice things, aren't they? It's because they're more like a fucking rev on a fucking old-fashioned building. That's the same, that's why $306 this. And you can jump on the market, you search in this one, you don't like that one, you like this one. That one, yes, that's not another 25 years. This one's only domestic. This one will give you 3 things done. Costs, ships, and it's the things. That's what you use for service. So actually, that's what
It's really just keep it twisted like that because it's not very
well, baby.
one more well, I don't know if it's reading that. Thank you.
I am the man!
We're going to eat this for ourselves. I think it's just a thing for later on. These ones are beautiful.
If you're telling me like that.
It's a brown one, so we'll share this one.
The super brownie spin off that went too far.
What's great?
I watched the super brownie spin off that went too far. Is that kind of
Yes.
yeah, baby. Thank you. Bye. Right.
This is the most
Oh yeah,
brutal spin-off show I've ever seen.
Let them do whatever they want.
You're making yourself look like a spoiled brat. Even better, am I in love with them? Let's talk all because of everything with them.
You gorgeous Doris. If you thought Super Nanny was intense, where Joe Frost went in the homes and tried to fix the evil children, you have seen nothing yet, as she actually made a spin-off show. Family SOS. This takes everything that you know about Joe Frost as Super Nanny to a new level, as instead of just fixing the children, she has to fix the entire family dynamic, including the parents. I believe this show is a lot more intense than Super Nanny because the issues within the families are often really deep, and a lot of the times the children aren't actually the issue, which really spins this on its head, and it also makes Super Nanny look tame in comparison. And in today's video we're going to cover its wildest episode ever, which is also its most viewed episode. This involves a couple whose household has descended into absolute chaos. From kids storming out the house and never coming back to screaming matches, all the way later in the episode where Jo herself actually says cut the cameras because it gets too much. This is honestly one of the wildest episodes of a TV show I've ever seen. Let's get into it. So the episode begins with us getting introduced to Don and Julie. I do not have the son. Got married and they've brought their kids from previous relationships into the same households. Now Don has 2 sons, Derek and Justin, and Julie has 4 kids, Chad, Ashley, Amber and Emily. Good luck to myself for trying to remember all of these names throughout this. Did anybody else have that when someone introduces themselves to you and says their name, it just instantly goes out of your head and you have to like spend the rest of the day trying to figure out what their name was because you're too embarrassed to ask them? Or is that just me? Maybe I'm just a freak.
Hunt the onion. Oh, look, I go straight to you, man. Hunting her mum, my friend.
Says that she's always wanted a big family, so now that they have 3 girls and 3 boys in the family, she's really happy about this. Oh, she was prior to moving in. As once they did all move in together, Julie found out that this wasn't actually as amazing as she thought it would be.
I went into this thinking I would feel the same, and I found out no, it's different. These are my children.
I just done.
But then,
Completely miserable here. Looks like he's just been told that his entire family are being held hostage. He doesn't have enough for the bail money.
And you don't realise by the fourth or fifth one, they've got so few and so big.
It's an interesting take, and it's something that I have been a part of my entire life, like, you know, a split family. Obviously, I'm not a parent, so I don't know if this is true from the parent's perspective, but if I heard that as a child of God, I would feel pretty sad. Obviously, I guess it makes sense, but you don't really want, you know, your stepmother to say that, because it would kind of make you feel like they don't like you at all. So straight away, you can clearly see that Don and Julie both favour their own children, and they don't seem to be looking out for the other's children. They're the ops, okay? We've got the Bloods and the Crips, and nobody's talking. I don't think it's exactly like that, if I'm being honest, guys. I actually don't think it's anything like that. I've seen loads of clips of them basically complaining about each other's kids, and it's really interesting to know the type of language they're using. Like, Julie often says, your kid is doing this. So straight away, it shows that she doesn't claim responsibility for Don's kids, which is interesting, because I would like to think that if my partner had a child, I would want to, you know, like, be there for them and be their father if they wanted me to be that, or just a supplementary father, like a stepfather. I don't know, I wouldn't want them to think that I'm treating them any differently from my own children, but clearly that's what's happening here on another level. This is obviously crazy in the couple, and they actually put a big ultimatum on Joe. They say that if Joe can't fix them this week, they're getting a divorce. No pressure, Joe, just the lives of 6 children and 2 adults on the line here. I love that Don and Julie have put the success in here, that all the kids have kind of cottoned on to their parents' marriage being on a knife's edge, and this is kind of making them act out even more, which has obviously created even more pressure for the parents. And then we get our first bit of hearing from one of the children, Chad. Now, Chad has experienced addiction to both drugs and alcohol, and he's now 2 years sober. He says that Don and Julie still treat him like he is the person that was 2 years ago, and this creates that issue. So you can all agree that Joe has got a lot on her plate.
Yes, no problem, baby.
With this family.
Outside. So much.
What's one of the oh shit!
That's possible. Honest.
Julie stopped the conversation for calling out to Dawn Amber for how she speaks to her.
What's it down there?
Just let them do whatever they
Yeah,
want.
because I'm used to like when I play games, I'm kind of afraid to rush this because it's so random. It's not like a stuff. Oh, it's weird. It's a weird thing. Think about it, I'm trapped. In my little stuff, I can't even leave. I'll tell the police I'm
The only thing that I got out of that was that the males in the house are always in the kitchen, like cutting their chest, like some sort of gorilla. Sorry, if I walked in my house and it's just loads of lads in the kitchen going, I'm walking straight out.
I don't smash the windows.
Do you have any
That's why that's weird. Why do they stop? Why do they stop each other? Why do they stop each other, not just get together?
The actual guild-like characteristics going away, so that really burned a lot of investors in the real estate space. What we're seeing now,
Yes.
in the last year and a half, is the interest rate stabilized, people coming back to the sector.
Sure that you got
No, didn't I get it? What's the gracious, but I got no get it.
The real estate market was then in the not
Right, okay, yes. No, it was your sister.
They knew it, but that's
Your sister, that's taking. She did something else, say it, motherfucker. No, but what I mean is that.
With me today to discuss what we can expect from the real estate market in 2026.
Generational hatred. Generational, isn't it? That's like Matthew movie, isn't it? I'm going to take your family, and then I'm going to take you. It's like Bane, I'm going to take a city. And as you watch your nana get packages and realise the gravity of your mistake, there, you have my permission to die.
Charles, welcome to Cross
It's just weird, it's
straight out there. You know, just
it's not strange. Well, it is strange. It's strange to me. It's like a little home bottle. Very strange.
Kind of like, you know,
But it's not like strange to me bad. It's strange, isn't it?
Same with mine, to be fair. I think,
It's that bloody school. This family that picked that up from that bloody school.
No. I went through my period of boring. Now, I went through my period of boring time, like stealing books and things like that. That was like easy money. Like, if sold a book set, if sold like a £50 book, for like 6, 7 quid. That's a lot of it. I thought I was like, I my biscuits, bottom of the water. Like, go to the library, sit there all day. Just leave you on a different floor. Yes, that was better. A bit burglary, that was about very low. Very low. But that's like, you know,
And Derek feels like he has to mentor his own dad, which is interesting because, you know, when you actually get to an age where you start becoming an adult, you realise that your parents are like the people that know everything.
I got arrested at 12.
Do you get into a sort of relationship with their
I
parents?
got arrested at 12, breaking into the school.
Parents, which is a lot of pressure to put on a young person. Surely then
I've got my library book. Could really believe that. Like, I'll raise someone else copy it. But you look at the cops and looking at you, and it's like recording you running to the building. That's the weird thing. I'm across the building. No, they should call what really like bad. And then I tripped. I'm just sort of out high. There's these comedians out high wide. You don't have to get those handrails like a nice high down, shooting them out. For some reason, these were little ones. Grassy areas. Yeah, so running against the grass, I thought it's really easy. Shoot. And then my tail off. I was hanging out with someone else, and he got up and maybe he was the one that put my book in there. You don't know I did it. I was like, as a child, that sounds great. As now you realise, yeah, but they were just at school and he was at home. And his parents could have verified that. And then you said they're quite confident. I promise you, my man, you got this. But that's why you can't let kids make decisions, can you? Because kids are dumb.
He calls out Jo for kind of making this a spectacle and saying that she's inciting arguments and making them open up like this because she knows it's good for the TV show. I find this wild. It's just hard, you know, especially with the cameras, you know, she's pulling her my fucking ass, man. I actually think he is insanely clever for recognising this. Like, obviously Jo will be kind of putting on a character because she's the host of this show and she needs to make it entertaining. Like, yeah, she wants to sort this family out, but that's not the main point of her doing this, because if that was the main point of her doing this, she would do it in her own time. She's doing it for the TV show because it makes money, but obviously she still wants to help the family. But it's just interesting that Chad worked that out straight away, because I actually agree with them. It is hard out with the cameras. Like, this is real life for him. This isn't a reality TV program. This is his family. People at school are going to be talking about this and talking about how his family were on Family SOS. So I can totally understand his frustration, and it's going to be interesting. Then progresses to later that night, and we see Julie track down her daughter Amber at a party as she's underage drinking. Which is before we proceed, a word from today's video's partner. Donuts, I'm going to be honest with you, I feel like giving you a free £20. Well, I don't feel like giving you a free £20. Revolut does. All you need to do is sign up with my link and use your code 165 million people worldwide. Honestly, it's class. I wouldn't go anywhere else. We've done a couple of deals on this channel with Revolut, and my favourite thing to always mention is the metal card. Honestly, every single time I pull this out,
Combine and transfer your pensions onto Aviva's award-winning investment platform.
And my favourite thing to always mention is the metal card. Honestly, every single time I pull this out, it makes me feel like a millionaire, even though I'm not. I don't know why, it just feels so good. Okay, I like textures. If you get the metal plan yourself, it also comes with a number of perks, such as number one, and Tinder Gold. If you were recently single and you need to get yourself back out there, okay, get a metal card. Put it in your bio as well. People love you. It's also got a great interest on saving rates as well, which always helps. Another great feature is Rev Points. When you spend, You earn rev points, which you can redeem on airline miles on over 30 different airlines. And if you are going away, you can also use rev points to get a discount on hotel bookings and experiences whilst you're there, like sightseeing or food tasting sessions, even active adventures, like why wouldn't you get Revolut, man? And if you are going away, you can also use their currency exchange feature, which I love to use every single time. It just takes the hassle away from spending abroad. Even if you don't exchange the money in-app, you can just pay when you're abroad in your normal currency, and Revolut will automatically exchange it for you. And if you are wondering what the exchange rate is, you can actually see in-app the live exchange rate for where you are. Depending on your plan, you can even exchange unlimited amounts of money at great rates. And if you are somebody that likes to go out with your mates often, you can also use the payment links to make sure you get paid if you're the one that pays for the meal, which I know is always a hassle going out with mates. You can do it at the touch of a button by literally just sending your payment link to your friends. Alternatively, split the expenses into something called groups. And like I said, you can use this for any occasion. It doesn't have to be an occasion, but just when you're out with your friends, it makes life easier. So sign up to Revolut with my link today, use your card, and get that free £20 in your account, man. Come on, what are you waiting for?
Like almost like a thing.
So you can clearly see here that tensions are extremely high. Nobody's listening to lo-fi beats in this house and just kind of, having civil conversations. If anybody does that in their spare time, do people do that? Why was that the sentence of an alien that is trying to fit in on his first day on Earth? Anybody just want to, kind of listen to some lo-fi beats on YouTube and just have civil conversations? Why did that sound like AI there, trying to flirt or something? Sorry, yeah, guys, I think that's what it is. I'm losing my mind. Bastard. Maybe say I'm an alien. Let's spread that rumour. Now, obviously, Amber is very aggressive there, I will admit it. But one thing I will say is Julie is clearly antagonising her. Like, I don't know, if you're kind of upset and your mother is kind of like, got a phone in your face filming you and also behind the camera saying, oh, she's acting crazy, oh my god, she's mental, oh, look at her, that's going to incite you even more. Like, that would make me angry, even if I wasn't angry. So again, we don't really have much context into what happened before this. Yes, she dragged her home after she found out she was underage drinking, but it seems like the camera just came on very randomly. I'm not like sold on the daughter being the main problem here. Now after this, we then progress into Joe's first full day with the family, and this is the observation day. So basically Joe isn't really going to interfere at any point. She just wants to see how the family kind of operate if she wasn't even there. This day kicks off with Julie and Don taking Amber to the ER so that she can get drugs test after, her antics yesterday. And obviously after them knowing that she was underage drinking at the house party.
You're just going down
There's two voices. And it's just like,
I feel like I have a really messed up perspective on this, because in the UK, like underage drinking, rightly or wrongly, is very normalised over here. Like people in the UK start drinking, honestly, some people are like 12 years old or 13 years old, will go to a random park with like a bottle of like really cheap cider, we call it Frosty Jacks, and just neck the entire thing. A lot of people in the UK actually retire from drinking when they hit the legal age. So I feel like I've got a messed up perspective on this, because to me, like, your mother finding you at a party and then taking you to the ER to get a drugs test just because you were underage drinking seems like really over the top. But again, I don't know if it is completely different in America. To the Americans watching, is it normal for your mother to take you for a drugs test if she finds that you've been underage drinking? It's definitely not in the UK. But it is important to note that Julie has experienced addiction with her son Chad, so she might have past trauma and just really want to kind of cut this off at the source and make sure that it doesn't happen to another one of her children. Just trying to see this from her point of view. And Julie does tell us that addiction has always been rife in her family, so I imagine she is just looking out for Amber a little bit. But from Amber's perspective, it just seems like her mum is being an absolute arsehole. And we then get to see Julie actually speak to Amber in front of Joe.
What can I do sound fine for you and I to have a better communication together? I'm enjoying my friend's house. I hate you guys.
It's so hard to tell if Amber's just going through that stage that a lot of like teenage girls go through, where they just like hate their mother, or if all of the past actions from Julie just being too harsh on her and just kind of treating her like not an actual person. It's so hard to understand which one it is at this stage. But clearly Amber is just not fond of her mother. It's interesting as well, because Joe says that if Amber doesn't come back, she's going to ring Amber's work and tell her that she's not coming in today, so she can't get paid from her job. Which I do think is kind of wild. Like, imagine being that business that employs Amber, and you get a phone call from, like, you know, ex-super nanny saying, by the way, one of your employees is not coming in today because I said so. You'd be like, fuck off, I mean, you got kids to concentrate on. That's a weird sentence. I'd be like, no, shut up, she's coming in.
If she wants to act like a big woman and hold the responsibility of the job, then she can hold down what she needs to do here first, yeah. What?
If she doesn't want to talk to her mother, then she has to lose her job. How does that fix anything? Do you not think that she's going to hate her mother even more if her mother is the reason? And do you want the reason why she loses her job? I think this is just going to create even more of a rift. Like, you can fall out with people in your family, but you still have to go to work. You can't tell your job, oh, I fell out with me mum, I can't come in today. Like, they're not going to accept that. You can see here, Amber is even hiding behind the car. Does this really look like a positive family dynamic that can be fixed in one day? I don't think so. Amber does eventually come back, but she's like really upset. She's crying and she's basically saying that she's done and she absolutely hates them.
Yep, and not just with your hair, with the help of zero accounting software, I've sorted my numbers too. So now, I sense
weird.
Anywhere.
Fish and chips. Just one thing, but no variety. It's the same like people have been drawn up any items is weird.
And then I started so if you want to say, the shit comes on, so what you want to say to me, you know, like, you say, I don't have to go and like,
at all.
like, you cut the edge, she's the one who close the plate.
Products.
Oh no, when I was there, Becca just spoke for Ghost Square, she was doing her preview, and she didn't really give a shit, because she was kind of... Sometimes like, I've got the sense she was a roughneck. Sports shit by parents, but still nice.
I think Joe Frost just good at here. Like, she was like the big person that was trying to intimidate the new person.
She appreciates what they've done.
Yes. Your way, son.
It's not doing it so much.
I think kind of intimidated her a little bit. I understand that the same techniques don't work for teenagers as they do in the Super Nanny show for children. You can't just put Amber on a naughty step. But I do feel like Joe is kind of overstepping on this stage. This was meant to be the observation day. We also don't know if, like, Amber is kind of, you know, when you're hungover, especially if you're younger and hungover, you are just a little bit more ratty, you know, your stuff just affects you a little bit more. And also, instead of like telling her like to stop drinking, have we explored why she's turning to drink like at a very young age? Is it not because her family dynamic is so down the drain and is just awful and aggressive, so she needs to find her own outlet to be able to kind of forget about it, and she has no positive way to do that, so she turns to alcohol. Maybe that's the reason. Instead of blaming her, why don't we actually try and understand why she's acting this way? At the minute, I think it's pretty clear.
5 minutes, calm down, come out here. 10 minutes of solution, things don't work.
Oh no, because you don't need to.
I understand that Joe is trying to kind of, you know, fix the relationship here. I'm just trying to put myself in Amber's shoes. If I needed to go to work and there was this random person in my house with the camera crew trying to order me about, stop me from making money, I would be so pissed off as well. Obviously, there's no excuse for the way that she talks to her mother. I understand that. But it's just interesting that, like, you know, Joe automatically has this authority over the bull just because she has cameras with her. Now, even though Amber was promised, you know, calming down time, Dawn actually just goes into her room early.
Do what you're supposed to do as a mature teenager, then you can go to work. I just said I'm trying to tell her.
Yeah, no, that's the best thing to tell someone when they're absolutely freaking out. Just say, calm down. Every single time that I'm really stressed and someone tells me to calm down, it's almost like they just click like a magic fix. It's incredible, guys. Honestly, if you see someone that is really, really annoyed, tell them to calm down. They'll really appreciate it. Did you just say I hate you, Daddy 911?
Oh, it's a
I hate you, Nanny 911. That's kind of hilarious, I can't lie. I think I would hate Nanny 911 if she stopped me from going to do my job and possibly using my job. Now after this, we start to see Julie blaming Don for the way that Amber is reacting here. She blames Don because apparently he walks around the house slamming doors. But obviously Don is having none of this. You don't, yeah. And you don't get angry. You know what?
Well, Ian was a really good man. That's why he plays country club.
I don't understand why these two people are together. Like, they don't even seem to like each other. Never mind that. They seem to hate each other. They seem like mortal enemies that have been put together, and this is some sort of like social experiment. It's like putting Darth Maul and Qui-Gon Jinn into the same room and being like used to have to be best friends, and to appreciate that. I love that. I don't even think that's an issue. I don't even shut up, Cap. Don't for the third person. Oh, he's lost it. Now, whilst the parents are arguing, Joe then goes to speak to Derek, who is obviously Don's son, as he basically witnessed this entire thing go down. And you can see that Derek is definitely the most mature person in this household, like over the parents as well. He just says that he's tired of everything and he constantly feels drained and he just has no energy because it's just constant warfare in his house. And I do feel really sad for him and all the other kids because your house is meant to be your safe space, you know.
Ian, he done Star City. He done 3 or 4 for him. And that's why he kept telling Vicky to go to Star City. I think Vicky kept taking it the wrong way. He thought he was trying to send him away. So I don't know if it was Harvester Day,
because she's recognised that he's the only person in the house that kind of bottles up all his emotions.
No, that's
like every single other person in this house, when they're angry, lets it out, shouts, screams.
What I mean is going like there's a management structure set up in a department with someone in XYZ. And the reason I hold that to be true is because he had he's second chef, despite having no experience, got a kitchen in a brand new place. He's items are part of the menu nationally across the country. He was, he was very popular.
Just get worse and worse. You can see that Derek is clearly that person as well. And it seems like Joe is the first person that is like.
He seemed to know them. But if he didn't know them, he could insert himself well. I know it sounds negative, but what I mean is because he's a nice guy, he just fits in wherever he needs to because he's just pleasant. So like, but Ben let him down as a crash and burn. Ben was a crash and burn. The fact that the worst thing is, it would have been better for him if he just stayed for a week. Stayed for a week and tell us about I cannot have that overwhelmed. Because then you call him Stu, who would have helped him, he would have popped across on the occasional ship, put some time in. So yeah, no, Stu was, I think, at one point considered for upper management.
Like I used to think, when I used to look at people on like social media, and they see how that feels like, but even though that sounds like
Haven't flashed that either.
Well, I've got Kif. I've got. Just say, it's a probiotic antibacterial. It's the most earth-friendly thing you can have on the planet. There's no chemicals in that whatsoever, apart from what you put in your belly. I can literally spray it on a sandwich, not that I would. Really could. That's where we are now with chemicals, isn't it? Maybe not that one. But I know there are a lot of chemicals you can do that with those food products and spraying them out.
So Derek has to kind of like coach his dad, but he doesn't have enough time to coach himself.
Once on Dragon's Den I've seen it. I haven't seen it
when he needs some sort of advice, he's not going to go with his dad because he can see that his dad can't even cope with his own problems. So how is he going to cope with his? It shouldn't be the responsibility of Derek. I'm sorry.
That's what I was thinking. If someone did that in the supermarket,
she needs to start looking out for the children, so she has a
show
with both Don and Julie. And to show them how their actions is having such a negative impact on the kids.
Love each other.
I'll get a vacuum set. I'm just wondering if one of those got fucking pound ones do the £2-3 ones. Because it's not the only these those little corners, isn't it?
I think I love Julie, she has that person.
Yeah.
You know, that spark never dies.
That's where I ran into trouble there, yeah. That's my fault that it's there.
No,
I mean, I made it worse because I was shuffling down, getting coffee to go scoop around my fingers, and there's no scoop around your fingers because you can't get in there. But you don't see the blind corner. But it's also round there on that side. So once the doors are off, you can see my problem was I drew the doors off.
turmoil here. Surely you can start with that you're in love with them. You just start having...
See, I'm trying to see the actually, why don't I get you a set of paintbrushes
I think that tells you that you're not.
a little vacuum? Because you could brush it all out the corners into the centre and then vacuum just the centre. And then
well,
that
Julie,
will,
you know, at least take a second to breathe
give it a
before
go.
answering. Thanks, love. Sure didn't even
because
get
I
the
essentially want the girl that does the car
No,
dashboard.
the opposite, actually.
And they're normally quite cheap,
If you're
aren't they? Like
asking,
4 or
if he
5
fell
quid.
into a bed of nails and the bed of nails set on fire, I wouldn't be sad.
It's only sandwich crumbs.
If my house burnt down and I had the opportunity to save Don from death, I wouldn't, if that's what you're asking. John then asks them both to write down their issues with each other and then read them out to each other. Now, the first thing that Don writes down is that he doesn't like the way that Julie
always gets spicy.
down and then she will just not talk to him for weeks. Like, there will be no communication from her. It's almost like she goes in a mood with him and then she won't say a word to him, which is obviously not a positive way to communicate with your partner because, you know, Don's not going to know what's the issue. Yes, it's fine to be in a mood, but to not talk to your partner for like weeks because of something that they don't even know that they've done, how is anything meant to ever get resolved? Don also says that Julie never speaks to him in the morning. She only speaks to him once she returns home from work. It's almost like a curfew that he's got. There's like a little window he's able to talk to her in, and if he misses that window, well, that's his fault.